Hello, everyone. We all know just how precious water is, don't we? We simply cannot live without it. And here in India, we're so fortunate to have these mighty rivers and, of course, the heavy monsoons. So that brings up a very important question. Why do we so often see scenes of people struggling to get water? A picture like this long line of people waiting for water, it's a very common sight in many parts of our country. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a land that gets so much rainfall, why do we have this scarcity? Let's try and understand the root of this problem together. You see, to find the right solution, we always need to understand the problem first. So why exactly is a nation that's blessed with so much rain facing a water crisis? Now, surprisingly, our water scarcity often isn't because of a lack of rain. It's usually because of something called overexploitation. That's a big word, but it simply means we're using water much faster than nature can put it back. Our population is growing, our industries need water, and our farms especially need huge amounts of water. All of this is causing the level of our underground water to drop. Now, after independence, India built huge dams. They were called multi-purpose projects because they were supposed to do many things, like provide water for farms and also generate electricity. And while they were seen as temples of modern India, they also came with some big problems. They changed the natural flow of rivers, they harmed fish and other life in the water, and sometimes they even caused floods. So, if these large dams are not the perfect answer, what's the alternative? Well, the answer is actually hidden in our own history. It's a simple idea our ancestors practiced for centuries. Let's explore this idea: rainwater harvesting. So, what is rainwater harvesting exactly? Well, the idea is incredibly simple. Instead of just letting all that precious rainwater run off into the drains and go to waste, we catch it, and we store it for later. It's all about catching the rain right where it falls. And why is this simple technique so important? Well, there are two main reasons. First, it helps us save water on the surface, so we can use it when we need it. And second, and this is very, very important, it recharges our groundwater. The water we collect seeps deep into the earth and it raises the water table, which is the level of all that water stored underground. All right, let's take a little journey back in time. People in ancient India were actually masters of water harvesting. They developed some brilliant techniques that were perfectly suited to their local weather and their needs. Let's look at some of this incredible old-school engineering. Up in the hilly areas of the Himalayas, people built these very clever channels called gulls or kools. Now, you can think of them as nature's own plumbing system. They would simply divert water from streams and springs on the mountainside and then guide it all the way down to the fields and the villages. A very simple and very effective system. Okay, now let's travel from the mountains to the desert. In the dry parts of Rajasthan, people used their farms themselves as water storage. They built these little earthen walls called kadins or johads to trap the monsoon water. This water would then just stand in the field and slowly soak into the soil, making it perfectly moist for growing crops. So clever. And here's another brilliant idea from Rajasthan, the tanka. These are basically underground tanks, almost like a personal water bank for each family, built right in their courtyard. They would collect rainwater from the roof and store it here. And this water, which they called palar pani, was considered the purest form of natural water, and it was a lifeline during the long, dry summers. Now, for some really incredible natural engineering. Over in Meghalaya, a state that gets some of the heaviest rainfall in the world, people developed a 200-year-old system of irrigation using a very simple material: bamboo. So here's how it works. They use bamboo pipes to tap into a spring, usually on a hilltop. Then a whole network of these pipes carries that water, sometimes for hundreds of meters, right across the landscape to where it's needed. But the last step is the most ingenious part. The water flow is slowly reduced through the network until it delivers just 20 to 80 drops per minute directly to the roots of the plant. This is precision farming, making sure that not a single drop of water is wasted. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? So those were some of the methods from the past. But you might be wondering, is this ancient wisdom still useful today? Oh, absolutely. Let's see how these ideas are being adapted for our modern world. So the most common method today is rooftop rainwater harvesting, which is actually directly inspired by those tinkas of Rajasthan. The process is quite simple. First, the rainwater from the roof is collected and sent into pipes. Then it's passed through a filter, often just using sand and bricks, to clean it up. And finally, it's either stored in an underground tank for you to use, or it's used to recharge a nearby well. And this diagram here just shows how simple and accessible this really is. You see the rainwater flowing from the roof, down a pipe, and into the ground to help refill a hand pump or a well. It's a really practical system that can be set up in almost any home, and it can make a real difference to the local water supply. Now, all this might sound good in a textbook, but does it actually work in the real world? It absolutely does. Let's look at some incredible success stories from right here in India. Take the state of Tamil Nadu, for example. It was the very first state in India to make rooftop rainwater harvesting the law. It's compulsory for all houses. There are even rules to punish anyone who doesn't do it. Now that shows a really serious commitment to saving water. And let's go back to the Northeast. It's quite ironic, but the city of Shillong faces a serious water shortage, even though it's near one of the wettest places on Earth. So to solve this, rooftop harvesting has become very common, and now provides about 15 to 25% of the water needed by each household there. And here's one more really inspiring story. In a small village called Gendatur in Karnataka, nearly 200 families have installed rooftop rainwater harvesting systems. And together, get this village harvests a massive 1 lakh liters, that's 100,000 liters, of rainwater every single year. They've actually earned the rare honor of being called rich in rainwater. So we've looked at the problem of water scarcity, and we've explored some solutions, both ancient and modern. So what is the main lesson? What's the key takeaway from all of this? Well, the most important point to remember is this. Rainwater harvesting is eco-friendly, it's affordable, and it's a sustainable way to manage our water. It is a really powerful tool for making sure we have enough water in the future. And this is important to note, not just for your exams, but for the health of our planet. I'll leave you with this one final thought. We are all so lucky to have the monsoon, but it is up to us, to you and me, to make every single drop count. So the question is not for someone else. The question is for you. Are you going to be a water harvester? Think about it.